This show is sponsored by my new business, MA Capital. I had success in my previous business acquiring companies before I exited earlier in the year. MA Capital is set up to support business owners on that journey, whether they want to sell now or they want to set up for a profitable exit later in the future. If this has piqued your interest and you'd like to work with me, head over to macapital.co.uk. So welcome to the Fast Pound, Slow Pound podcast. Today we have on Sam, the Managing Director of Blue Bricks Magazine. Sam purchased Blue Bricks Magazine in 2020 when it was loss-making. He then made it into a profitable business. But before we get into all that, Sam, take me back to where it started. Guys, just a quick one. Over 75% of our listeners aren't subscribed. So if you are enjoying this, please show some support by liking, commenting or subscribing wherever you're watching the podcast. It'll allow us to keep getting on amazing guests and it's massively appreciated. Back to the show.
Yeah, it's a good opening, I suppose, where it all started. I feel like it all started in kind of three different places. I don't think I can track down to where the kind of first one was, but I suppose the very beginning would have been 2019 when I was a stand-up comedian. And yeah, which is different, I know, but I travel up and down the UK doing stand-up comedy.
Still to this day, yeah?
Not professionally, mate. No, I mean, I occasionally... I try and tone it down now because I'm a little bit darker than I should be, so I'm more politically correct, should I say. But yeah, we're travelling up and down the country. I was doing stand-up comedy, performing at shows, and I always kind of knew that I wanted to have a business. I wanted to do more. I wanted to invest. I was always quite ambitious. The main thing that drove me was freedom. I'd been working since I was 16 years old, and I kind of quickly realised that I didn't want to be in a corporate world. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the politics. You know, there was one time when my nan sadly passed away where I had to go to London for the funeral and I'd run out of holidays and they were like, well, you can't go to the funeral unless you take it off unpaid. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind doing that. But I just thought, you know what? I want to live in a world where I've got more freedom than if my nan passes away, having to ask for permission to be with my family. So that's where it kind of started, really. And that took me on the trajectory of researching property, researching business.
So what year was that then, Sam, when you decided that, you know, this corporate life isn't for me?
2019.
2019. How old were you then?
I was 19 years old,
wow,
I think I was,
nice.
Yeah, so between 18 and 19. It was 19 when I started with the stand-up comedy. And yeah, I just realised straight away, like I said, I'd been working in corporate since I was 16 years old, and people would always do this thing because I was younger where they'd try and kind of mother me or parent me. And the amount of people I had that like, you really need to get out of here. You shouldn't be like doing what we're doing when we're 60 years old. And I thought, there's so many people living with regret, so many people that are unhappy. I don't want that to be me.
What were you doing?
I started out working for a building society and debt collecting, which was, I couldn't do it. I managed it for a couple of months and it was awful because we had to debt collect from people with terminal illnesses and stuff like that, people that were in really dire straits that owed the banks money. And look, I get it, you owe money, but I couldn't keep doing that basically. It was killing me on the inside. And then I moved into e-learning. So I was doing customer support, sales, that kind of thing, all the kind of standard starting out jobs that you do.
Yeah. So where did it go from there?
So from there, I went travelling. So at the back end of 2019, I went travelling around Southeast Asia. And that for me was a turning point of, right, I'm going away. I'm going to see other parts of the world. And then when I come back, I'm going to get started in whatever it is I want to do. But I'm going to finally take the leap. So it kind of started in 2020 when I came back and we had COVID lockdown. I was working as an estate agent. I knew I wanted to get in a property. So I started working as an estate agent. It seemed like a logical step, really.
Yeah.
And then lost that job during COVID. Now, with COVID, I was kind of sat around and I hate wasting time. And I thought, right, I've got unlimited time now. There's nothing to do other than watch Netflix and play PlayStation. I've been moaning that I don't have enough time to learn about property. I've got all the time in the world, so let's just sit. And I ordered a ton of books off Amazon, Rich Dad Poor Dad, the classic one.
Classic.
Started researching stuff. I started connecting with investors on LinkedIn and just saying, hey, would you mind telling me a bit more about what you do? Could I jump on a phone call, pick your brains? And then I started sourcing in the area that I was an estate agent in. And the reason I set up a sourcing business in lockdown, for anyone that's listening to this thinking I might be a bit mad, is lockdown was only meant to last about a month. I don't know if you remember. It wasn't supposed to be what it ended up being. So I was like, well, I can learn about property in lockdown, set up my business, and then by the time I'm ready to go, lockdown will be over. And obviously that never happened. So kind of midway through the sourcing journey, which was horrendous during COVID, because every other week it was, is the housing market going to be open? Is it not going to be open? You can view the property, but you can't, be in the same room as the estate agent. You've got to wear a mask. Investors were really worried about, should we invest, should we not invest? How long is this going to last? So it was a really difficult time. And it was around about that point I was connected with the then owner of Blue Bricks magazine, Caroline Monks. A mutual friend of ours connected us, and me and Caroline just got along really well. They were looking for a marketing manager for Blue Bricks, and they basically said, look, we respect that you're sourcing. We know that you want to do your own thing, but we'd only need you 25 hours a week. We can introduce you to investors. You can kind of work from the office here as well. We think it'd work well. So with the business being new, the offer of consistent income was like a real win-win, and it still gave me enough hours to source. So that's how I ended up working for Blue Bricks magazine, and that was right at the start of 2021.
Interesting. What did property sourcing learn you business-wise?
Yes, it was my first ever venture into business, really. And it taught me a lot about having the right people around you and working with the right people. One of the mistakes I made in sourcing, I think it's a mistake a lot of property sourcers make, is you're so eager for an investor that anyone that shows a faint bit of interest, like, oh, they'll invest in the deal. And then you think you've got a list of these investors. You've just got a contact list, basically. And I realised a lot of the people I was dealing with were never going to invest in a deal unless it was 20% BMV and an absolute unicorn. So that taught me about working with the right people. I worked with an investor. I had a bad feeling about them, and they actually went behind my back and just tried going directly to the estate agent to steal deals off me.
Yeah.
So it also taught me about, trust your gut as well when dealing with people.
Do you have bad feelings toward the property sourcing industry?
No, I don't. I think anyone that's a property sourcer is fantastic, for the reason being, it is such a hard business to run. It's awful because as a property sourcer, if you have a deal going through, you've got you, the investor, the vendor, the estate agent, the broker, the surveyor, the solicitor, the builder, and so many people involved in this deal that if one person messes up their role, the entire deal can fall out of bed. And that's difficult. With a normal business, like with Blue Bricks, for example, there's me and the reader, or me and the advertiser, and it's a real relationship between the two of us. You're not as reliant on other people.
Have you took many skills from that sourcing business into to Blue Bricks?
I think the people skills that you learn,
Yeah.
Obviously the property knowledge that you pick up massively has gone into it, and just knowing how to identify the right people to work with as well.
If you were going to give anyone advice on property sourcing, what would you give them? What would you say? Don't do it.
Yeah, I'd say don't expect it to be easy. Don't expect to get a deal for at least 6 months. Yes, there's people that have done it sooner, but the average is 6 months. I didn't know that, so I was, disheartened. So don't see it as get rich quick, see it as get rich slow. And also make sure you're working with the right investors who value you for the time that you're saving them, not necessarily the quality of the deal that they're getting. Because if you want investors that don't value your time and they're only going to ever buy from you if the deal is a ridiculous discount, then you're never going to source properties in.
Yeah, I would absolutely double down on that as well. Just say, it's about the time that you're putting in, and that's where that's really what you're getting paid for, not necessarily for. Obviously, the deal's got to be good, but people who want unicorn deals, I would genuinely say they're not the ideal type of client that you want to be working with.
100%. And I think I had to drum down as well onto the types of investors I was working with and creating a customer avatar. For me, if I was to ever do it again, I'd only work with business owners and business owners who are busy and, like you say, are paying you a fee to save them time.
Yeah. Where did the ambition come from? Because it's quite unusual, isn't it, to want to invest, I think, nowadays, especially when, from the age of 16.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I don't know. The earliest memory I have was of this kind of thing was I was 14 years old and I was sat in a science class And my teacher was talking about, what you're going to do. You got your GCSEs coming up, you can do your GCSEs, you're going to go to college. From college, you go to university, and then you get a house. And if you're really, really, really lucky, you might earn 60 grand a year. I just sat there thinking, is this life just this step by step process where I'm going to work till I'm 65, 70, and then retire and die? And I know that's deep thoughts for a 14-year-old, and it's really bizarre, but I've always been hyper-analytical, always. And just from 14 years old, I'd picked up on this, and it actually massively depressed me as a kid, because I'm having these thoughts that a 14-year-old probably shouldn't be having. Yeah. And you can't really relate it to anyone, because when I try and talk to my family, certain members of the family will be, but that's just the way it is. That's what they know, and that's what they've grown up with. Other 14-year-olds don't really care about that topic of conversation. So it was quite lonely, and then that feeling just never left me. And as I started working in corporate at 16, it just became more and more apparent that the feelings I were feeling were accurate. And I just thought, this just isn't the life I want to live. I want freedom. I want choice.
I think you get funneled, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like, you get taken by the tide into that corporate environment. I've done exactly the same. I think I might have spoken about it on here before, but I trained as an accountant and qualified as an accountant. But to reach the financial controller, the financial director stage, I would have had to done it for another 10 years. Yeah. And I looked at the guy in that seat, and he was so unhappy. Yeah, that was like the final nail in the coffin for me. And similar to you, it was COVID that gave me the spur to do it as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it did for a lot of people.
Yeah,
because there was no excuse on was when you've got all the time in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're up to about 2021 now. You just got into Blue Bricks.
Yeah, 2021. So I started working for Blue Bricks, and it got really interesting because up until this point, my dad is a massive inspiration to me. He's a landscape gardener, and he always kind of taught me as a kid about, he loved his job and his business, and he loved doing things on his own terms. And I think I kind of got a lot of that from him growing up. But he was the only business owner that I really knew or that I'd been around. I'd never been around other entrepreneurs, never been around other business owners. I genuinely thought, and I'm not joking, all millionaires were like Jordan Belfort from Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. I thought they'd wear a Rolex, wear an Armani suit, and be driving a Lamborghini, and that was a vision I had in my head. So when I started working for Blue Bricks magazine, I shared an office with Nathan Winch, who's been on this podcast, who was a part owner of Blue Bricks and who owns a private equity firm. And Nathan was kind of the first person I'd met that had achieved all the things I dreamed to achieving. And he, for me, kind of took it from this dream into it's real and it's tangible and it's there. And here's someone that's actually done it. And I became obsessed with Nathan. I thought he was the best thing in the world. And very soon stopped sourcing and went full-time both in Blue Bricks and full-time working under Nathan. So I'd do part-time being a market manager for Blue Bricks and helping grow that. And then I'd be part-time for Nathan's private equity firm as an investment analyst, working under him, and he'd teach me how he bought businesses and how he did what he did. And I just found it fascinating. Yeah. I just finally kind of felt like, okay, I've found the thing that I've been looking for, and a place where I don't actually feel so alone. Yeah. And that was how it kind of began.
Isn't it? It is. Sourcing, especially starting your own business, you're just a one-person operation, aren't you?
Oh, 100%. 100% it is, especially during COVID, because you couldn't even go to a coffee shop in the early days to be around other people. I mean, I still get lonely in my business now. Now I've got staff, it's less lonely, but you still have those days where the pressure's on you. And that's how it began. And basically, fast forward to 2022, Nathan said, look, I know you want to do what I do. I know that's your dream. I'm actually looking to sell Blue Bricks magazine. I think it's a perfect opportunity because you know the brand, you love property. You've been taught by me to buy the business off me.
Still love property?
Yeah, still love property. Oh, I love property. It's an incredible industry. I mean, I have to be passionate about it because I write about it every day at week. It'd be a struggle if I didn't. And he said, look, why don't you buy Blue Bricks? And that's how it kind of came about. Wow. And that's how I went from, being a market manager to the owner of the business.
Yeah. How did your role then change? To actually tell me, what did that feel like in terms of being able to buy this magazine in doing something that was like a dream, really?
It felt strange because I always, like I say, I always knew I wanted to follow Nathan's footsteps. I didn't think I'd be doing that until I was about 30 years old. So to be doing it at 23 was surreal. And it was almost like a hard one, a difficult one, because there was no one really around me that I could share this win with, that it would make sense to them. That it's like winning Britain's Got Talent. You know, if I was a singer, I'm like, you know, my family still at that point, or certain members of my family didn't really understand what I wanted to do, because I was the first one to kind of break the standard 9-to-5 mould. So I wouldn't say they weren't supportive, but they definitely didn't really understand. Yeah, they just didn't get it. And I had massive imposter syndrome. I was really, really excited, but then I was also like, oh wow, I'm the owner of Blue Bricks magazine, and I've got to grow this business, and how am I going to do that? And are people even going to be receptive to someone so young owning a property magazine? That was a really big worry of mine. It was a really surreal moment.
Yeah. So how did your day-to-day how did your day-to-day change when you went from marketing manager to owner?
Yeah, it was difficult because I'd never published a magazine before. So I had to learn that kind of on the fly, because we were midway through putting the next issue together, and the person that was meant to do the handover period actually kind of left during that week that I took over. So it was a baptism of fire, really. And there was a lot of pressure on me. Looking back, it'd probably been less pressure if we'd have put a post out that said, look, the business has just been bought by Sam, and we're going to, put the next issue on hold while we kind of hand the reins over. But I didn't. I wanted the next issue that came out to be absolutely unbelievable, because that imposter syndrome, I felt like I had to prove to people it's under new management, but it's going to be incredible. So it was difficult learning how to put a magazine together on the fly while putting one together, while trying to find other features to be in that magazine, and get my head around now being the owner and kind of getting ideas for growing it as well.
So what did you do?
A lot of 15-hour days, to be honest with you. The business at the time wasn't earning enough to sustain me. So I had to, I did freelance copywriting for a bit. So I would copyright for other clients to earn enough money to live and to deal with Blue Bricks. So I had to do that just to earn the money, and then put Blue Bricks together. And I was working, I'd get into the office at 7 o'clock in the morning when it opened. I'd leave at 9 o'clock at night when it closed. 7 days a week, 7 days a week, putting those hours in just to wrap my head around it. And because at the time as well, because Blue Bricks, when I bought it, and due to the way that I bought the business, there wasn't any or very much profit in it at the end of the month. So to make it profitable, I couldn't use proofreaders or copy editors. Every single part of putting that magazine together, other than the design, was on me.
Yeah.
So there was no choice other than to do that.
So what does putting a magazine together look like?
Now it looks a lot easier, because we've got AI that can do a lot of really cool stuff with proofreading and editing articles, or tell me if something's not correct. We've got a proofreader who goes through it all, puts the commas in, puts the full stops in, which is great. I had one of the first articles I ever edited. The person sent it in, he didn't put a single full stop in or a comma. It took me half a day to get that right. Now that I've got a proofreader, that's much easier. I've got an in-house marketing manager who also designs the magazine, so I've got a lot more control over that too. So it's a lot more streamlined now. Yeah. We get the interviews in, we get the content in, we get the pictures in, it goes to design, it goes to print, and it's just more of a seamless process.
Okay, so is that what it is? Do you interview property people?
Yeah, we
put their stories in the magazine, is that right?
Yeah, essentially that's what we do. So some instances we'll interview the individual, we'll write it on their behalf. Obviously we get them to confirm that they're happy with it, that it sounds like them, that the information's correct. In other instances, people will put their articles forward and then we'll publish it for them.
Nice. So do you charge those people to be in there, or how does that work?
No, so editorial's completely free of charge. The way that we make the money is subscribers to the magazine and then advertisers as well. We'll sometimes have an advertorial. That's when someone will write for the magazine, but it will be a little bit more promotional. So we allow them to promote their business within that. But even then, the advertorial still has to add value to the reader. We don't put anything in there that's just self-promotion.
Got you. So it's basically it's like a subscription model, I guess.
Yeah.
What's that been like to grow? Because I think that from my understanding, they're really difficult businesses.
They are difficult businesses. They're really difficult because we're in this new age where there's so much content out there. You've got articles on Google, you've got podcasts, you've got YouTube, you've got events with speakers. There's so much information and knowledge out there, not just on property, on everything. To say to people, subscribe to this product because we promise that our content is different, it's a really big ask. Now, obviously, the content that we provide is next level. It's not the stuff that you're going to find online. It can't be, because if it was, we wouldn't survive. So that's been difficult. The other difficulty is with the subscription-based businesses, we've got really high overheads. So you've got your print costs, print's going up, print costs are rising constantly. Royal Mail postage went up 3 times this year, I think it was. So obviously that's a massive hit to us. So that's been difficult because we can't pass that cost on to the customer. With a physical print magazine, we can't now go, right, it's gone from $12.95 every other month to £20 a month. So in a lot of ways, really, with the subscription to the magazine, it kind of just covers itself cost-wise.
What's the strategy to build a subscriber base?
You know, that took some getting my head around, trying to find the best way of doing that. A newsletter, that's worked really well. So we do a weekly newsletter now, like a roundup of what's going on in the property market. And at the end of that, we put like a bit of an extract from the magazine just to kind of demonstrate the value. Speaking at events has been huge. Whenever I speak at an event, I get a ton of subscribers. That's worked really, really nicely for me. Running the Blue Bricks Awards, running our own award, running other events that we do under Blue Bricks has got a lot of subscribers. Also sponsor events as well. And then going into next year, I'll be running more Facebook ads and paid advertising as well.
How did you find speaking at events? Because that would be very nerve-wracking for me. I've done an event before, and it was massively out of my comfort zone.
Really?
Yeah, it was only to 15 people.
You know, because you speak comedian, I find it easy for 2 reasons. If you're a stand-up comedian, you've always got that itch in you that you need to scratch.
Of course, yeah.
It fulfills that.
Of course.
And secondly, like if I did stand-up comedy in a pub in Stoke, if people didn't like me, they would publicly, while I'm on stage, call me a knobhead. Yeah. At property events, even if people think that, they won't shout it out. So it's actually a lot easier than some of the stuff I've been through in the past.
Wow, yeah, of course. Yeah, with the stand-up comedy, that's fair play, you know, for that. Do you do any of that just for a hobby now, or is it?
No. Closest I do to it now is best man speeches. Yeah. I do miss it sometimes. Yeah. But like I said, the public speaking, sometimes I'll throw a bit into that, and it kind of scratches that itch. That's
such a talent in itself, isn't it? Being able to have the balls, I guess, to get up on stage and make a fool of yourself with a comedy, or get people to laugh at you, laugh with you, should I say? But then to speak as an authority as well at an event. Is that something that you've had to? Because obviously you mentioned imposter syndrome. Is that something that you've had to work on, or does that just come naturally?
Yeah, I did. The imposter syndrome has been a ongoing work in progress. I'd say I'm mostly fine with it now, but then occasionally something big comes along that you go, oh wow, and then it hits you again. Before stand-up comedy, I had massive imposter syndrome. I actually struggled with my mental health for about 6 months because I really wanted to get into stand-up comedy, but I just didn't believe I could do it. So I couldn't even write a comedy set because my head just wouldn't let me. I just had this crippling feeling that I wasn't good enough, and I'd never experienced that before. It wasn't until I tried to do something I wanted to do that voice went, you're not good enough. And then the imposter syndrome with Blue Bricks, that lasted for a little while, but I've proven now that that's a great business and that I'm the person that needed to be at the head of it.
100%, yeah, brilliant.
So that's kind of gone.
Yeah, I think some of that Alex Harmozy says, like, outwork your self-doubt. So, like, the self-doubt that you have, it's probably right to be there, but you have to put so much work in that it's impossible to believe that those self-doubts are actually true.
Yeah, 100%. I think that is the best way to work it.
Yeah. It's just doing it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just doing it.
I think that's it. And that's what Nathan taught me as well. He always said, it's just doing it. That's the thing. You've just got to do it. And sometimes I've realised, you can feel imposter syndrome. You can feel mental health, and you can go on a mindset course and do some meditating and do some affirmations. My tactic now is just to do the thing regardless of how I feel. And that's worked.
Are you big on mindset?
No, I hate the mindset topic, but I suppose I've got a good mindset because of that. It's complicated. So for me, mindset is just cracking on and doing it. When I say I hate the mindset thing, I think so many people use mindset as an excuse to just not do the thing. So, we'll go on mindset courses, we'll go on retreats, and we'll do the journaling, the affirmation, we'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a run, do a cold shower, and it's just avoiding doing the thing that they need to do. Yeah. So I think I've probably got a good mindset. But that my mindset is anti-mindset, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah. I think, you're breaking it down into its simplest form, aren't you? Just do the thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's a magic formula. And, for some people, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go for a run, it really, really helps them. And that's great. If it helps you be more productive, then fantastic. But I have friends who, have been desperate to quit the jobs and start a business, and they've stopped drinking. They've been going boxing 4 times a week. They're doing this, doing journaling, doing affirmation. They're still in that job. They've still not left.
Yeah.
They're still miserable and unhappy because they've not done the thing they needed to do.
Yeah.
So I think all this stuff is great so long as it's not becoming a barrier to just doing the important stuff.
Well said. But what about personal development? Are you big on personal development, or?
Personal development in which way?
I guess you could relate it a little bit to mindset, but personal development in the, I guess, overcoming fears would be maybe physical personal development, personal skills as well, such as, speaking.
Yeah.
I guess I think that's what I mean by personal development.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's so important. Like, I see myself as a work in progress, and I always want to be learning and growing and improving and changing. And I never want that to stop. I don't think I'll ever get to a point in life where I feel like the finished product. So for me, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, stuff on business, marketing, sales, that kind of thing. I'm constantly trying to learn new things. I'm trying to learn French at the moment.
Nice.
But yeah, I think personal development is huge.
Business-wise, who do you listen to? Like marketing and things like that?
James Sinclair, I think he's absolutely fantastic. Unbelievable, yeah. Completely unbelievable. He's just, next level. I listen to a lot of his stuff. And then the audiobooks, they vary. At the moment, I'm listening to one called Influence by Professor Robert Cialdini. That's actually more like social science and psychology.
Nice.
When the psychology of marketing, which is a little bit different.
Yeah, cool. So when you're speaking at events, what can people expect from your speech in terms of the content?
Yeah, I have a unique way of speaking because with comedy, the way that you present comedy is you're constantly hitting, you're constantly looking for a reaction. So I think when I public speak, I get a lot from the audience. People laugh, people have fun, I get people engaged. And the way that I deliver public speaking is very much the same mindset I have when putting Blue Bricks together, like the magazine. It has to be valuable. Like, I've been to too many events where you've sat down and it's death by PowerPoint and it's just before and after pictures of a HMO. And I just thought, you know what, if I'm going to do this talk, I want it to just be 100%, make this worth people's time for listening to it. So when I talk, I just give as much value as I possibly can.
And slip some comedy in there as well.
Yeah, a little bit. I think it comes accidentally. I can't help it. It's a bit of a danger, really, because I think the reason I went into comedy is what I said about being 14 years old. I've always been analytical. My brain's a horrible place to be. It never switches off. It's painful. But I'm always analysing things and picking stuff up, and turning that into comedy was quite a nice release for me. But now I just use it for business, and it's just as valuable.
Yeah, fair play. Have you got any events lined up?
Yeah, I've got a few. I'm speaking in Birmingham this week. Property and Poppadoms. I do quite a lot with them. Hard Hats to Heels early next year. I've got loads lined up, but those are just ones I remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you have the same content lined out for all of them, or do you try and switch them up?
Yeah, I have the same content. So my talk is very much, I talk a bit about when I bought Blue Bricks and how I made it profitable, how I made it a profitable enterprise. But then I relate that to basically growing your profile and then using that profile to become more investable to investors. So it's, how do you become more credible and more trustworthy? I stick to very much the same structure.
So what is that structure?
Yeah, okay. So I start out a bit about me. I like to keep that brief. A wise man once said, if you want to talk about yourself, pay a therapist, which a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I do think with speaker slots, again, I try and make it about the audience. But I just do that, quick highlights of who I am, what Blue Bricks is. And then we talk about investor avatars. So a bit about working with Nathan and how I, met different people that were investors and how each one was different. Talk a bit about how you can grow your profile using things like podcasts, YouTube videos, speaking at events, all the stuff I kind of do. And then talk about, I use Helen Chorley's article in Blue Bricks magazine as an example. Helen is an angel investor. She's on Property Elevator, Sky TV.
Nice.
And she did a fantastic article about how you should approach angel investors and what angel investors look for in people and projects for investing. And I just took some quick highlights from that, and people find that really valuable.
What sort of stuff does she say and recommend then?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked, because I think people will really get a lot from this. So number one, I'll just try to go off the top of my head, the highlight ones. One of the main ones was that's what it is. It is skin in the game. That was the term I was looking for. And I basically said to Helen, would you invest 100% in someone's deal so they put no skin in the game? And she said she likes people to put skin in the game, to have some of their own money in the project, because that way, if the project goes wrong, they're going to be motivated to stick around and help turn it around. And what I found really interesting is I said, okay, what is skin in the game? What does that look like? Is it 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand? And Helen said it's not the amount of money that someone invests in a deal, it's what that money means to them. So if you've got someone that has £30,000 and they invest £25,000 in a deal, that's the majority of their wealth invested. They have got a very big interest in that deal now. Whereas if someone has, £500,000 and they invest £30,000, that's a very small chunk of their wealth. So they might not be as motivated to turn it around. Yeah. And I thought that was really, really interesting.
That makes sense. So if someone, what would be the benefit of someone writing into Blue Bricks magazine?
I'll tell you a story actually, because I always get people messaging me and going, I've just got this client or this lead or this thing from being in Blue Bricks. We had one guy that got over £400,000 worth of private finance from an article that he wrote. Wow. We've had other people get mentees and clients for their businesses. But the funny one was, I had a guy at an event the other week. He said, Sam, he said, I really have to thank you. I said, why? What's going on? He said, you've saved my life. Featuring in Blue Bricks, it saved me. I says, why? What happened? He goes, I was moving some money between my accounts, quite a lot of money, nothing dodgy. But because my bank flagged that there was quite a lot of transactions, they shut my account down. And it started off an investigation by anti-money laundering. He said, and I was out the office, and a police officer actually came to come and speak to me. And while they were waiting for me to come back into the office, they saw my article in Blue Bricks, because we had it in the office, and they read my article, read my story, read about who I am. And I got back and I said, oh, don't worry, we don't need to speak to you anymore. I've read your article in Blue Bricks magazine. Everything adds up. Your story's so inspirational. I'll go back and we'll get this all sorted out for you. So there's quite a lot of benefits. I'm not saying if anyone is laundering money that they should write in, but if you are, it might be helpful.
Yeah. Well, what's the mission for Blue Bricks?
For me, to make it the biggest, best, most well-known publication in the UK for property investment.
What is currently that?
I'd say it depends very much on the person. I have some people say to me, Blue Bricks is the best magazine they subscribe to and they absolutely love it. I would say, hand on heart, I think we're the best in certain ways. However, YPM has been going longer than I've been alive, 20 odd years. They've got a massive head start.
What is YPM?
Your Property Network. They're another magazine. Their content's fantastic. They've been going 20 odd years. They're extremely well known for those reasons, and they're a great magazine. And I think that only motivates me more, because YPM, Property Investor News, the other magazines are so high quality. Yeah. Like, I think they're brilliant magazines, and I read them and I get them and I go, this is fantastic. And that only spurs me on to do better, because the barrier to entry is so high because of the standard those guys set. So for me, it's inspirational what they do. So
there's two that you mentioned there, Sam. There was YPN and Property Investor News. Property Investor News. And how many would you know how many subscribers they would have between?
I don't.
Do you have an idea?
I think I don't actually know. No, I'm not too sure. I know YPN's quite a high one. I think Property Investor News is too, but we all have different USPs. Although we're all magazines in property, we all cover different things, feature different people, and have different demographics. What
would you say Blue Bricks USP is?
We target more experienced people. It's people that have got, three properties or more and are looking to grow and scale and go to that next level. We're very much your active property investor who's into creative deals and creative finance. I stay away from no money down, get rich quick. All that stuff is absolutely not the content we'll have. We do have a few subscribers who are new to property, new to the industry, but they're very much the ones that are taking it dead serious and they really want to succeed. Because I say publicly at every event, we're not for those people. We're not for the no money down people. We're not for the overnight millionaire people. If you're serious about property and you want to learn, you know, proper, true investment techniques from people that are credible and have been there and got the t-shirt, sign up.
Yeah. So if someone is wanting to get into property and take it seriously, could they learn everything they need to know by reading the magazine?
Yeah, I don't say this too often because someone will try and prove me wrong, but I've never been asked a question about property that hasn't been answered in Bluebricks magazine. Hand on heart. Anything from finding deals to raising finance, tax effectively structuring your property portfolio, systemizing your property portfolio, marketing yourself to investors online. Every single thing has been covered in Bluebricks so far because I very much take the they ask you answer approach. I do a lot of surveys amongst property investors, find out what's going on. So the content in there is all stuff that helps people.
Yeah. So is there a library where people can just search and then they can find the answer, or would they need to read like different publications to get that? How is the public? Yes, I guess a follow-on question would that be: how are the publications structured? Would you cover all of the questions in one publication every single time, or would it be a different question every time?
Yeah, that's a really good idea you just had there, actually. I might have to try and look if I can do that on the website. But the way it works is every magazine is different. We have some repeat columnists. We have like Tina Walsh, for example, who's in every issue. Savoy's have featured quite regularly. We've now got Andy Graham, HMO Roadmap. He's going to be in there quite often. But every magazine will have new people, fresh faces. So every single magazine's different. You know, you're not reading the same thing. And every single magazine covers different topics. So the next one that's coming out, for example, we're featuring one on how do you do desktop analysis on commercial conversions. Basically, what's every single step you need to take before you go and view the property. We've got a great personal story on there. This is one of the best people I've ever met. A guy who was in Iraq, he was ex-military, moved into being a bodyguard, had a severe accident, lost the ability to walk, taught himself to walk again, and has built a really high-end property business in Blackpool. Wow. He's in there talking about his story, which is absolutely incredible as well.
So the frequency, is it done weekly, monthly, quarterly?
Bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly, so every other month?
Yeah, every other month, yeah.
What about if people want to like really like deep dive into it? Do they have that option to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So when people sign up to Bluebricks, they get obviously all the future issues, but they also get access to every issue we've ever published as well since the magazine founded. So it's all on the back of the website. You get your login, you set your login, you can log in and you can read all of them.
Yeah. So if someone was starting out, for argument's sake, instead of spending 12 grand on a course, they could sign up to Bluebricks.
Yeah, get
a fraction of the price.
Absolutely. And we do the first month free. So actually for free you could do it. And honestly, I've been at events where I've been sponsoring or speaking, and you know I've had a fair few sign-ups when I've done my bit, but then I see them running towards the back of the room to pay £10,000 for a course, and I think genuinely, just pay me £12.95 and I'll give you everything that you need. Or even if the magazine doesn't cover it, I will know someone who will help you for free because you're a member of Bluebricks magazine.
I think that's the Facebook ad.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, actually, I think you're right. That could be the advert.
Yeah, I think that's a Facebook ad. That's what would really, really attract people to the magazine, because that educational piece is massive. I think everyone loves getting educated, really, don't they? And learning. So I think if they could do it through Bluebricks in your magazine and they didn't have to go anywhere else, that £12.95 is a no-brainer, isn't it?
100%. 100%. And as well, it's more than a magazine, we're a community. We have events that people attend online and in person, and the group that Bluebricks has, and every single advertiser, every single person that joins the events and comes says the same thing. It's next level. It's not just the experience and the expertise and the things that people are doing. You know, we've got people in there that have got a property pipeline of 30 million in developments, but it's how willing every single one of those people is to help you. And every person's a good person and they just want to add value to others and help them. I don't know how I've created that. It's just happened organically. But that's what you get access to when you join Bluebricks. And I help my members all the time. You know, if they need recommendations to like a good finance broker or they want some advice, I'm there for them 100%.
What do you enjoy most about running Bluebricks?
The best thing for me, the people I meet. Like, I get to meet some unbelievable people that have got these incredible stories, and I get to just sit down with them and talk to them. And really, being the editor of a magazine gives you a free pass to ask whatever you want, whether it's business advice or whether you want to get to know a bit more about them. I just get to meet some incredible people and learn about them.
So do you literally go out to where they are, or do you do a Zoom call and interview them? Is that how it works?
It depends on the person, mate. So I've had some real perks to the job. There's a guy called Ian Morton. I love Ian, he's brilliant. He's a proper old school developer. And he bought this Georgian manor house up in the North England. I don't think it's far from here, actually. And converted it into luxury service accommodation. So he's like, come here, spend the night for free. There's got a hot tub inside the apartment. Really looked after me. And then I interviewed him in that apartment, which was great. It's like a free holiday. And same again, the guy I told you that was a bodyguard, he's got ultra high-end accommodation in Blackpool, like ridiculous. Like I haven't very rarely seen anything that high-end. And, you know, we went there, set up some video cameras and interviewed him there, and then stayed the night again for free, complimentary. So I do get some, like, perks to the job as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? Just travelling all over the country, just meeting these cool people and spending some time with them. I guess that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast, really, but what you're doing is pretty cool as well, isn't it?
It's good, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not always possible. Sometimes I will do a Zoom interview because obviously the people who are interviewing are busy. I'm busy. I'm in the North England where you're not close to bloody anything. So sometimes it is a quick Zoom video, but other times, you know, if we've both got a bit of time, you know, we'll go do in person, film some content while we're there.
Have you ever tried to buy any of those other publications that you spoke about?
Not one of the ones I spoke about, but another one.
Yeah.
Tried buying. I don't think it'll go ahead. It might not be as relevant as I was thinking it would be. Maybe in the future. I think it could be on the cards. Or maybe they try by me, who knows? You never know what the future holds. But definitely growing through acquisition is something I'm keen to do.
Yeah. Are you building Blue Bricks to sell as well?
I always build any business to sell, because that's what I was taught to do, for the reason being that basically building to sell means building in a way that you are no longer needed in that business. And it's always good to do that for the reason being that even if you never sell, you've still got an asset there that you can step out from and you're not in the run-ins of it all the time. So I'm building it to sell, but not in the way of I'm selling it next year, but in a way that's the model I'm kind of following.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Have you ever looked at any other industries and thought, oh, I wouldn't mind getting into that one and basically doing what you're doing now, but for another
another one? Yeah, I was actually looking to buy a business. We had one going through, but circumstances have changed, so we might not be going ahead with that purchase anymore. So yeah, I have looked at it. It's something I will be looking to do in the future as well. Because
I guess what you're doing there, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're buying the database, right, and the recurring revenue, and then the database to potentially cross-sell and cross-market to that database to then build each other's subscriber base? Yeah,
it depends on the business that I buy. Realistically, I wouldn't want to buy another business that would be like Blue Bricks was, where I'd have to go in as a sole person and fix it again. And next time I buy a business, I'd like it to have a team in place and something that we can kind of plug into Blue Bricks that's already profitable. That would be the ideal, you know, later on down the line, I'd say.
How many subscribers does like a magazine need to have to be profitable?
It depends. You know, I've had people who own other magazines come to me and go, your magazine's profitable. I go, yeah. They go, how have you managed that? I go, what do you mean? Is that not like the standard? To go, no. Like a lot of people have magazines that are loss leaders, but they'll like market, they'll have other products or services that business will sell. And then the magazine is just a funnel for that. I don't think it's so much the subscription base. It's more just income from advertisers. One of the things that I did to fix Blue Bricks was to set a high retention rate. So I noticed what a lot of magazines do is they'll have a salesperson full-time who will sell magazine advertising, but they'll sell like an advert in next month's magazine, and they are constantly selling, trying to get new businesses in. And I thought, I want advertisers that are signed up for a year and are happy and who want to keep renewing because they're getting a lot from it. So I'm not out there trying to sell a half-page advert every other week. And the way I did that is by basically ensuring that all my clients got results, which many of them have got massive results now.
And then do you go and sort of speak about those results? You know, like you told me that the guy raised £400,000 of finance. Is that something that is at the forefront of the conversations when you're doing that?
It's something I need to do more of, because when I'm marketing online at the moment, I don't really market towards advertisers, which is bizarre considering that's a welcome income. A lot of the advertisers that come through come from people I met at events, come from referrals, introductions, come from outreach, business development outreach, and it's kind of done on the quiet, really. And until obviously they start coming to our events, then people hear about them.
Yeah. You talked about like other products and stuff that the other businesses sort of follow. So do you have any other like products, or is it just subscriptions and then the advertising revenue?
Yeah, so I've got to be careful what I say. I wouldn't say I bought another business this year. I bought the assets of another business this year to launch new products under Bluebricks, and the assets that I've purchased will allow me to do that.
Nice.
So we will be soon launching a lot more digital and virtual products, stuff that are going to help people who want to learn about property to do that at a ridiculously cost-effective price. But we'll get them, get them started. Basically, it's look, if you want to get in a property, if you want to invest in property, if you want to learn this new strategy, here's everything you need to do to learn the basics of that, to know if it is for you or not. Yeah. So you're not spending £10,000 to get 3 months in and go, actually, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be.
I think you've just nicked my idea. So
really?
Yeah. No, I think you'll kill it. It's obviously it's education based, like what you're going to be.
Yeah, it combines nicely because the education isn't coming from me or even Bluebricks. We're going to be partnered with certain individuals who are highly credible, highly well known, who aren't necessarily known as trainers, who are coming in because they believe in the mission and want to provide that content and that support. And I've got so much content that I need to do more with. You know, we've got 5 years worth of articles and interviews and audios and videos that having this digital platform now will actually allow me to utilise and share with people. Because I've got, these great interviews with people like Helen Charlie that haven't actually been shared publicly yet. And that's going to allow me to do that. So when you're asking about buying more businesses, yes, I am doing that to grow Bluebricks. But I just have to be careful when I'm on podcasts what I do and don't say. Yeah.
We've got the awards as well.
Yeah, the Bluebricks Awards, that was this year.
How did that go?
Incredible, mate. The stress almost killed me setting that up. I'm not an organised person, I'll be honest. Like I've got many talents, organisation isn't one. And events are like it's like a drug. It's like probably not a good analogy actually, but it's just not non-stop pain leading up to organising it. It's just constant headaches, constant problems. To the point you get to I got to dead day and I'm like, if this goes wrong and I don't have a business tomorrow, I'll just be thankful this shit's over. That's what it's like. But then you do the night and it's absolutely incredible and people love it and you're getting all this positive feedback and then you're like, I need to do another one. And then you just start the whole process over again. So the awards was incredible. The night, we had over 250 people in a castle in Chester, one hell of a party. People winning awards for community contribution, contributing to social housing, for making positive differences in the industry, like Wendy Whittaker-Large, for example. Those people then been featured in local newspapers for the positive work they've done. So the awards was unreal, and the effect it's had on Bluebricks as a brand has been next level. The organising it and the putting it together, that almost wrote me off, did that.
When did you put it on?
When?
Yeah.
19th of June.
19th of June. And how long did it take to plan and put together?
I was putting it together from December.
So a good 6-7 months.
Good 6-7 months. And it's just, you realise how difficult some people are. And I made mistakes because I've run events before. I actually used to run, I always forget to mention it. I don't know why I do. I suppose I won't call it a business, but the first thing I ever did was I ran a comedy night. And I was like, I've run comedy nights, I've run events for property, like networking events and stuff, just like that, but bigger, isn't it? And I was wrong. I should have hired an events organiser way earlier than I did. And one of the biggest ones was that I got midway, I think it was 2 or 3 months before the awards. Turns out we didn't have any tables. So I was like, come again? I'm on the call with the venue, like, you don't have any tables. I was like, so where are people going to sit? They're like, they're not. I was like, well, how much is it for tables? Like £8,000? And we were already going over budget, so I was like, I fixed it.
How can the bloody venue have not any tables? What the hell?
Miscommunication. Miscommunication. And this is why I should have got an events organiser. And what I did, we fixed it. It only cost me £1,000. We got all the tables there. We got everyone sat and eating a 3-course meal, and we actually made profit on the awards, which is a massive achievement for the first one. But when I had that with the tables, I went to Wales to where my auntie lives for 3 days. I turned my phone off and I just sat on a mountain, mate,
Really?
just in silence, just mulling over my life and what I was doing. And I remember I went to a farmer's market, and everyone in there were happy and smiling. I thought, you know what, I could do this. I could move to Wales, work in a farmer's market, get a little penny on, deliver milk. I'd be quite happy. Yeah. Live a simple life. Who am I doing this for? Why am I even breaking myself in two for this? But, obviously we're a happy ending in the end because we got the tables and the awards were a huge success. But just one of the many things that were a nightmare.
Why do you think they're so difficult to put on?
Because people always people are like, oh, when you're doing next awards, I want to go to the awards. And you're like, they really want it. And then you'll put an event on and then it's my nan's birthday that day, or I'm in Tenerife for 2 weeks, or I don't know, the winds might be blowing east that day, so I don't know if I can make it. So the difficulty is trying to get the people in the room. And then I think organising stuff, things always go wrong. You have a plan in your head, and in your head it's really simple. We'll just put this thing there and we'll just have the DJ on at this time. But then the practicality is if people finish dinner at 8 and you get the DJ on at 9, then they're only going to have 2 hours to play music. It's just the little nuances
things,
like that you don't think of. I'm very big picture. I'm not great at the minutiae.
So you're definitely going to get an event organised for the next one?
Oh, mate, 100%. I got her at the end of this one. She saved my life. She was brilliant. She was
did you fly her in?
Yeah. We got her in at the last minute. I'd sold the tickets. And I was hesitant, so I thought I'd done everything. And then she was like, okay, have you sorted your dietary requirements? I was like, you what? She's like, in case anyone's lactose intolerant or vegan. I was like, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. She was like, have you told people what the dress code is? I was like, yeah, it's on the website. And it was just all these tiny things. I was like, right, you sort all that. And she did, and she was brilliant. So yeah, next time I do a big event, from the get-go, I'm having this person in at the start.
That's funny, that, mate. Where do you want to take the awards? Do you want it to be a regular thing?
Yeah.
An annual thing?
Yeah. I love the niche that we've got of it being awards for ethical investing. And anything I'm doing, I want it to have a purpose. And seeing landlords finally in the media for positive results was a big thing. So yeah, I want to do it, and I want that to be our niche. Well, I don't know if I'll do it again in 2025. It might be 2026. We'll see. I'm looking to hire someone at the moment, potentially. If that goes smoothly, then yes, that might free me up more time doing awards. The problem that I've got is I've got to do it even better than the last one. And I did the last one in a castle, and I don't know how to beat a castle. So I'm trying to figure that out. And if I come up with a great idea, I might just launch it a bit sooner.
That's interesting, that. So potentially not in 2025?
Potentially not. I'm on the fence doing a big event in 2025, whether that's going to be an awards or some kind of conference. I'm not entirely sure yet.
How come you don't want to do it in 2025? How come it's not a definite, this is definitely happening?
Because there's a lot of other things I want to do with Blue Bricks, especially with the asset purchase that I need to build out. And while I'm doing the big event, as great as they are, there's the other stuff that I'm not working on. So it's just a case of prioritising that stuff before going and doing another big event that's going to eat up a lot of time. If I can hire someone soonish that frees up my time on stuff like putting a magazine together, and my entire time is literally spent on the event and growing Blue Bricks, kind of stepping out of the business, so to speak, then yeah, I'll launch one sooner.
So you're in the process of hiring someone?
Potentially. Yeah, it's something that I'm looking into for the new year and speaking to a couple of people about at the moment.
How do you find hiring staff?
I got mad lucky in my first hire. I hired my marketing manager this year, and he is incredible. He was only the second interview I did, so I don't think I'm qualified to speak on this topic yet because it was luck. But I think for me, it's that age-old thing of you can teach anything other than attitude. I look for people who are going to go above and beyond, but also appreciate what I give, because my mindset is, look, this is the work that you need to do. Get that work done. That's it. I don't care if you start at 9. I don't care when you start. As long as you're there when I need you, and as long as the work gets done, I'm happy. And also, if you need to take that Friday off because something's gone wrong in your family, take it paid. I'm not tallying it up. You don't have to take it as a holiday. If you want to work from home that day, work from home. I try and give as much as I can. So I also want people that are going to appreciate that. Because these days, man, a lot of people have this mindset of, I'm going to come to the employer and I'm going to tell you what hours I want to work and I'm going to tell you how much I get paid. And I go, that doesn't sit right with me, man. A lot of people want everything and want to give nothing. And I'm trying to avoid those types of people.
Yeah, especially coming from what you've done, like took a loss, like, you know, you've started a business from scratch. You have took a loss making business to profitable.
Yeah.
So you haven't expected anything from anyone.
No.
And you've got to where you are now, and for someone to come in and dictate terms with you, it's like, just doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't work like that. But that's how a lot of people are approaching it now. And it's like, oh, well, actually, I don't want to commute and I don't want to come in 5 days a week. And I'll go, no, that's fine, but it's probably not right for me. Because if the attitude's wrong, it doesn't matter how good the work is, it's never going to marry up. Yeah.
How is your role different to your marketing manager's role?
Yeah, good question. I mean, now my main role is the editor of Blue Bricks. That's the thing that eats up a lot of time. That's what I'd be looking to hire, is someone to come in and do the interviews and put the magazine together. So my role a lot of the time is interviewing people. I really enjoy that, to be fair. It takes up a lot of time. I enjoy it. Putting a magazine together, occasionally writing articles too. And I try and spend as much time as I can on the business and as least time as I can in the business. Something James Sinclair talks about a lot. It's really easy to be busy doing the admin, doing the minutiae, and spend 8 hours doing stuff that doesn't really drive the ship forward. I try and spend a lot of time now on podcasts, filming podcasts, speaking at events, getting more subscribers, getting advertisers, doing outreach for advertisers, dealing with my existing clients, making sure they're happy, and just growing it that way, creating new ideas for Blue Bricks, like the platform that we've just purchased. That's where I try and spend most of my time.
Yeah, I'm excited about the platform. I think you'll smash it with that, mate.
It's going to be unbelievable for a lot of people, because I'm going to put a lot of stuff on there for free as well to help people. Because my main thing is I just want to help people make a positive difference. And if I can use Blue Bricks to give people a reliable place to turn to that's not there to take money off them, I think I'll be happy.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful who you take advice off. There's a lot of people online, and obviously not all of them. I work with some fantastic trainers, but there's people online that are offering mentorship, offering courses that don't have the experience to offer that, and it's dangerous.
Yeah. Some doing it from a genuine place at a cost-effective price where a lot of people can access it. I think it's a really good model. I think have you heard of School, the one where Alex?
Alex Thomas.
It sounds like it's going to be a similar model to that, because you can get unlimited amount of people in and just charge them a small amount per month. Yeah, exactly. Just to learn whatever it is that they want to learn, and then to take that to the market and go, okay, what do people want to know? Is it raising finance? Is it finding deals? Is it how to get started investing in HMOs? And how can we put content together for that is accurate, that includes everything you need to know, even the less sexy stuff like fire regulations, for example. I think that's the key to anything I provide. It's going to have stuff in there that's not sexy, but is needed, like FCA regulations. And is it going to be done under the Blue Bricks?
Yeah.
Like branding and banner and everything like that?
Yeah, it'll all be under Blue Bricks.
I think that's a good idea, because then it comes from a position of like authority, doesn't it? It's like a trusted brand, putting the name against it in the industry,
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Blue Bricks is a trusted brand, and it's weird for me to wrap my head around that, because of where it started and how I remember buying Blue Bricks to where it is now, when people are sharing that they've been in a magazine and people are putting stuff like, the UK's best property magazine or the UK's leading property magazine, and, everyone's heard of Blue Bricks and all this stuff that other people are writing about. I look at that and I'm like, wow, that's incredible. It's almost disbelief a lot of the time.
Have you seen a YouTube channel called Start a Story?
No.
I would definitely check that out. It sounds like something similar to what you would be doing, because the guy who started Start a Story, he goes around and tells the stories of these people. Yeah. But then he provides a community for them where they can learn, how to start and scale a business at a low cost.
Wow. Yeah.
So like he would go around to different entrepreneurs, where you would go around to different property investors, and and you'd share their story and how they've done it, and then you'd provide the community and the education for a low price. Yeah. So I'd definitely check that out.
Yeah,
Start a Story, it's called.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Thank you.
If people want to advertise on Blue Bricks, how much does it cost?
It's a really good question, because I've just been analysing the cost of advertising for next year and how we need to alter it. really depends on the package that they take. We have different packages from a quarter page advert all the way up to, sponsoring our events, writing for the magazine frequently, being on the front cover on a 1 quarter page advert. Starting price is around about 175.
Yeah.
So really cost effective advertising.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking to get raised advertisement or, fill those spots out for the end of the year or 2025?
Next year I am in 2025 because the advertising has been so popular. People come to us to advertise now, and the advertisers that are in there are getting great results for the reason being that I make sure they do. It's more a partnership than advertising, and I work very, very, very closely with my advertisers to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to help them grow their brand. And I always give more than they've paid for. The amount of people that have advertised in Blue Bricks and not paid for a speaker slot at an event or a mail blast and a social media promotion or writing in a magazine that I've given that to because I want them to succeed. So I am increasing costs, but still doing it in a way where the client's going to make an ROI. Prices, I've done a package currently that's discounted heavily. Some are 35% discount, that if people sign up for 2025, they can have access to that discount.
Brilliant.
In advance before the prices rise.
Brilliant. Are you looking for certain type of businesses that you want to onboard specifically, or are you?
You know what? There's one or two. An architect would do fantastically well. A surveyor, a project manager. Those are the 3 things. I've, for reasons unknown to man, I've not managed to get. I find some architects very difficult to deal with, and hard to find them, quite nerdy. So the right architect will do really, really well. But those 3 are the main ones, I would say.
Any particular areas of the country as well?
Ideally, someone that covers national. That's kind of what I want, just to make sure that they can maximise the value they're going to get from Blue Bricks.
Yeah. And finally, if you had some advice for your younger self, what would it be?
My younger self? I would have gone all in a lot sooner and been less fail fast, I'd say. Ever since I've gone all in on Blue Bricks and I cut down the copywriting and I took a hit to my income, I didn't really have too much money then. Blue Bricks grew. And then when I hired again, Blue Bricks grew again. And it's all these risky things, these risky financial decisions that it's almost like being stood at the edge of a cliff and jumping off. I'd say I go all in much quicker, higher quicker. I'd have gone full time in a Blue Bricks quicker. I'd have travelled up and down the country speaking at events quicker. And that would have been my advice.
Yeah, I think that's solid advice. And if people want to connect with you and Blue Bricks on socials and online, how can they do that, Sam?
Yeah, best way to do it. LinkedIn, Sam Cooke, Cook with an E. Don't just Google Sam Cooke because you will get a soul singer, not myself. So Sam Cooke Blue Bricks and I'll come up. If you want to, inquire about advertising or writing for the magazine as an editorial, featuring with us, just email hi@bluebricksmagazine.com. Member of the team will come back to you and have a chat, no problem at all. And then we're on Instagram as well, Blue Bricks Magazine. The final thing is, if people want to read Blue Bricks, you can sign up online, bluebricksmagazine.com, 3-month trial. Sign up, we'll send you a magazine, have a read. You can attend our event for free as well. See if you enjoy that. If you do, great, stay subscribed. If not, you can cancel and you've got a free magazine.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Really my pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you, Matt.
Top man.